Volodymyr Zelensky is a Ukrainian politician who has made a rapid career, from a popular artist and presenter to the president of the country. Watch this video until the end to find out how Volodymyr Zelensky lives, about his personal life and how much he earns. Well, before starting, like, subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. Let's go. The future artist and politician was born in the industrial city of Kryvyi Rog in January 1978. The zodiac sign Aquarius became the patron symbol of the future comedian. For some time, the Zelensky family lived in Mongolia, despite the fact that their parents are Ukrainians. Volodymyr's father worked in the steppe region. A mathematician by education, who later took up the position of professor at the Department of Cybernetics and Computer Engineering, he participated in the construction of a mining and processing plant in a distant Asian country. Mom was an engineer. Little Zelensky went to a Mongolian school at the age of 8, in accordance with the laws of the country. The boy spoke Mongolian fluently, but after returning to Kryvyi Rog, having no practice, he quickly forgot the language. In Ukraine, Volodymyr began attending a theater group and was intensely involved in sports. He was a restless and active child. In early childhood, Zelensky wanted to become a border guard, and later dreamed of becoming a diplomat or translator. As a young man, Zelensky entered the local branch of the Kyiv University of Economics, choosing a legal specialty for himself, in which he received an education. The student's creativity and sense of humor were immediately noticed. Volodya was invited to stage dance numbers in the KVN team, Zaporozhye, Kryvyi Rog, Transit. After some time, the artist himself began to participate in the numbers. In 1997, Zelensky, together with several members of the KVN team, created his own team, calling it the 95th Quarter. He not only acted as team captain, but also wrote scripts for most of the numbers. 2 years later, the Major League of KVN invited a talented team to their place. Each performance was highly appreciated by the jury. The guys gained popularity among fans of the famous game and began to give concerts throughout the CIS. In addition to touring, Volodymyr took up writing scripts for corporate parties and concerts. The participation of the 95th Quarter in KVN lasted until 2003, but after a conflict with the Amic company, Zelensky and his team stopped participating in the project. Ukrainian TV channels became interested in the 95th Quarter. 1+1 reached out to talented artists with a proposal to make a whole program, which would include the best numbers. So the KVN team was transformed into the KVARTAL 95 studio, the head and owner of which was Volodymyr. In 2005, the Evening Quarter program appeared, which was first broadcast by the 1+1 channel, after which Inter bought the rights to show. Zelensky acted as the main TV presenter, ideologist and author. The program quickly becomes a rating, and Volodymyr's studio tirelessly released new projects, not letting the popularity fade. Among the most striking are Fight Club, Evening Kyiv, and Ukraine, Get Up. Elections of the President of Ukraine. In the spring of 2019, Ukraine froze in anticipation of the next presidential election, which took place on March 31st. Volodymyr Zelensky became one of the presidential candidates. His alleged participation in the election campaign was discussed in the summer of 2018. On December 31, 2018, Zelensky officially announced that he was running for president. His performance on the 1+1 TV channel took place on the very eve of the new year. The channel's management took such a step to the detriment of the congratulatory speech of the incumbent president Petro Poroshenko, which was made later. Already in his first address to the people, Zelensky outlined the main postulates of his election program on a number of pressing issues: the cessation of hostilities in the Donbass, building relations with the IMF, the European Union, NATO, etc. On January 21, 2019, the name of Vladimir Alexandrovich was successfully registered in the list of candidates for the post of head of state. Zelensky's candidacy was put forward by the Servant of the People Party on its own behalf. It was formed in 2016. At first its name sounded like the Party for Resolute Changes. Ivan Bakanov, who also promoted the humorous studio KVARTAL 95, became the leader. Vladimir Alexandrovich quickly became the leader of the election race. Already at the end of January, a number of sociological companies recorded a 21% rating of the candidate, who was ahead of his closest opponents Petro Poroshenko and Yulia Tymoshenko by 5 to 6%. And in early February, 5 to 7% more respondents voted for the actor than 2 weeks ago. Political scientists explained such popularity of Volodymyr with a non-standard form of the election campaign. The producer covered the presidential race in the format of an online internet show, practically without stopping acquainting subscribers of social networks with the events of his political activities. On March 31, 2019, Volodymyr Zelensky, who received 30.24% of the vote, and Petro Poroshenko, 15.95%, advanced to the second round, leaving behind their competitors. The elections, as expected, were accompanied by information stuffing, scandals, provocative speeches and commercials. On April 21, the second round of presidential elections in Ukraine took place, in which Volodymyr Zelensky won an unconditional, almost threefold victory, according to the exit poll. Petro Poroshenko admitted his defeat and offered the new head of state assistance, which Zelensky is in no hurry to refuse. The solemn ceremony of the inauguration of Volodymyr Zelensky as President of Ukraine was held on May 20, 2019. The new head of state from the first days of his reign carried out a number of political transformations. First of all, he announced the dissolution of the Verkhovna Rada and called early parliamentary elections. Also, before the inauguration, and after the politician did not stop talking about the desire to return Crimea to Ukraine, as well as the regions of the DPR and LPR. Both before taking office and during the subsequent years of his reign, Volodymyr repeatedly called Russia an aggressor. In many ways, this influenced the preservation of distance in relations between the two countries. After learning about the new Ukrainian leader, Vladimir Putin noted in an interview that Zelensky is a good actor, but it's one thing to play someone, and another thing to be someone. The president of the Russian Federation did not congratulate his colleague on his victory in the elections because of the latter's unfriendly rhetoric. Volodymyr's personal life has developed happily. The artist is married to Elena Kyashko, whom he met for 7 years before the wedding. They have known each other since childhood. They studied in parallel classes at school. Elena acted as one of the authors of the KVARTAL 95 studio, despite the fact that she is also a lawyer by training. Young people got married in 2003, after the 95th quarter team left KVN. A year later, the humorist became the father of Sasha's daughter. In 2013, Elena Zelenskaya gave birth to her second child, the son of Cyril. According to friends and relatives of the comedian, Zelensky is an exemplary family man. He calls the main of the qualities of a real man responsibility for his children, family and loved ones. The showman admits that he spoils his daughter and son, as well as his wife, trying to compensate for his frequent absence. Now in the Instagram account, photos of the politician often appear with his wife. In 2022, Volodymyr Zelensky remained at the helm of power, maintaining tense relations with Russia. In the Western media at the beginning of the year, information about Moscow's impending attack on Kyiv on February 16 began to be widely circulated. On February 14, the head of Ukraine addressed his compatriots with a speech. He assured citizens that the national army is able to protect the state, and the authorities are considering any scenarios and risks. This statement, as well as the excitement raised by the world press, gave rise to panic in Ukraine. Businessmen and deputies urgently began to fly out of the country. The situation was reflected in the foreign exchange market. Vladimir Alexandrovich himself told reporters that he was not going to leave his homeland. On February 21, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree recognizing the DNR and LNR and treaties of friendship, cooperation and mutual assistance with these republics. On the same day, Zelensky said in an address to the nation that the internationally recognized borders of Ukraine will remain the same. On February 24, martial law was introduced throughout Ukraine due to a special military operation by the Russian Federation. On the same day, Zelensky announced the break in diplomatic relations with Russia. The situation between the countries worsened after the referendums on the entry of the DPR, LPR, Kherson and Zaporozhye regions into the Russian Federation. Sean Penn, a Hollywood actor, came to Ukraine during the CBO to shoot a documentary about the events. At a meeting on one of his visits, he presented Zelensky with his Oscar statuette. On December 21, 2022, Vladimir Alexandrovich flew to the United States to speak before Congress and receive a new aid package. This is his first trip abroad since February 24. Friends, Who do you think is more beautiful, Vladimir Zelensky or Vladimir Putin? Write in the comments. If you liked the video, like, subscribe to the DA Studio channel and click on the bell.